The people of Del Mar have always had a difficult relationship with the train tracks on the coast. Over the years, if it's not one thing, it's another. By now, everyone agrees the tracks need to be moved, but at the same time, a political movement is picking up steam in Del Mar to make sure that the tracks move in the right direction.
So the cost, about $4 or $5 billion. This would be the most expensive project in the history of San Diego County. So that's fact number one. There are on average about 3,000 or 4,000 people per day that are using these train tracks right here, riding the train here. So if you do the math, it's around $1 million per rider just on the Del Mar Tunnel alone.
The decision is not up to us, it's not up to our city council, it's up to SANDAG. And I think SANDAG has already expressed its thoughts about how much they care about Del Mar.
Over the decades, decisions about Del Mar have been made by a group of people who don't live in Del Mar, the 19 members of SANDAG. In fact, the Del Mar City Council was recently informed over a Zoom call that major decisions have already been made about moving the tracks into a tunnel under Del Mar. A life-altering decision delivered over a Zoom with zero input from the people.
So Zoom can sometimes be effective, but for a meeting like this where there really has been no in-person meetings at all, you really need to show up in person. It's indicative of the bad faith that SANDAG has had on this project from the very beginning.
Not content to be ignored any longer, Councilmember Quirk is rallying the troops, hoping to have a bigger voice about big decisions at SANDAG. In this case, a voice that will likely include the people of San Clemente. They too need to move their tracks, and it's not going to be cheap.
So if we add both of those together, the cost approaches something like $5 million per daily rider. In the history of America, there is no transit project that comes anywhere close to that type of per rider cost.
After years of tunnel vision over at SANDAG, the man who brought that vision has suddenly resigned. Hassan Ikrada, singularly obsessed with trains, trolleys, and buses in a Southern California culture that loves cars and personal freedom. He is out.
I believe that Hassan Ikrada is aware that there are huge problems with what they are presenting, so I believe his resignation is part of that recognition. But there needs to be a fuller investigation into why Hassan is submitting his resignation and these ridership numbers and the costs of the projects involved.
Del Mar may be small in numbers, but in this case, it's not what you got, it's how you use it. And they plan on using everything they have to have a strong voice in major financial decisions.
We're looking forward to this fight, and we want to show up in person to a SANDAG board meeting, hopefully in October. I hope we get that chance. I hope they do not try to defer and delay and push us off a year or two. This is, again, the most expensive project in the history of San Diego County. It would be the largest project by a significant margin for SANDAG. They need to hear from people who are informed and justifiably upset about the process so far.
You know, under the current transportation plan for the next 30 years, Hassan Ikrada, who is out, was planning on spending like $200 billion on underutilized trains, trolleys, and buses here in California. And you know, some people have said, if this is really about climate change, well, you could take every single person who rides a bus, train, or trolley and give them a brand new Tesla for $50,000 apiece. That would cost maybe $300 million. 300 million out of 200 billion for the trains, trolleys, and buses? A lot of people say it would make a lot more sense just to buy everybody a brand new electric car, considering it is the law in California as of the year 2035. Speaking of trains, we're in Del Mar. Dan Plant, KUSI News.